I want to welcome everybody to our community conversations this evening. This is just a format that I'm using to kind of make sure that our community is aware of what's going on in our city. A lot of times people cannot make it to the city council meetings, right? And it is important that you know what's going on, whether you can make it or not. I want to offer an opportunity for you to know what's going on. This is our last one for the year. The next one we are going to plan in January, and I will get that schedule out for you, okay? But first, I want to thank Pastor Jerry and Westmoreland Church for offering your sanctuary here with us. I really, really appreciate it. I want to say when I first called him and I said, Pastor Jerry, we were talking about it, and he said, well, how you doing, brother? I said, I'm doing all right. I had surgery on my foot, and it's a struggle. It hurts, I said, but I'm trying to make it through. Pastor Jerry said, well, 3 weeks ago I had 2 heart attacks, but the Lord is good. I said, okay, well, in that case, I said, where you at right now? I'm ready to go preach, brother. I'm ready to go preach. I said, okay, well, nothing is wrong with my foot. I'm feeling just fine. And I just want to let you know, thank you so much, all right? Let's go to the first slide, all right? So what I like to do is I answer a couple of questions at most of our meetings out the gate. Are you allowed to go to a city council meeting? Yes. Do I encourage you to go? Yes, more than welcome to go to the city council meeting. That is one way that you can actually ask questions, or you can hear things that are going on at that particular time. There's times in our city council meeting where we have what we call public hearings. And a public hearing is an opportunity for you all to voice your opinion. How important is a public hearing? Let me give you an example. We had a public hearing on some tiny homes that were going to go into a particular neighborhood. One person came up and said, we don't want those tiny homes right there. And she gave a very valid reason and reasons. And she was very adamant. The city council kind of looked at each other and they went with what that citizen wanted, because the citizen showed up for that public hearing and those tiny homes did not go there. Now we're looking for a place to put them because tiny homes are very important, but the point that I'm trying to make is that your voice matters. So if you want change, change happens before the decision is made. And that's when it's made at the city council meetings, all right? Let's move on to the next one. All right, the last city council meeting was November the 21st, 2022, and I'm gonna go over a few things that we talked about in that meeting, all right? Let's go. And everyone you have this handout, right? This handout is just telling you the schedule of all of our meetings. We have a breakfast meeting and we also have an evening meeting every month, almost every month anyway. The breakfast meeting is normally just an agenda, just a meeting. It's not as formal as the evening meeting. Very seldom do we have anyone at that meeting. We normally don't make any type of decisions or do any kind of votes. It's just a time for us to kind of talk and figure out what we're going to really discuss on our Thursday meeting, all right? Which is normally the third Thursday, and the meetings are the first Monday, all right? Next. All right, now, we did discuss this, and tonight I'm very excited to have a couple of people here that are going to talk about this in more detail. But demolitions, the demolitions that we have scheduled for our city that we approved just the other day, 901 Raleigh Road, 1307 Carolina Street, 412 Lee Street, Queen Street, and then 316 Green Street. And a few times I've talked with some people that said, well, you shouldn't tear these houses down. You shouldn't. We need to revitalize the houses. We need to do this. We need to do that. Let's go to the next slide. This is what these houses look like right before they're abandoned. All right. Next one. And these are houses that are in the middle of neighborhoods. Next. That's the inside of that particular house. Next. Can you imagine this house being right beside your house? It doesn't make any sense. All right, next. And again. And that's another house. These houses are at the point where they need to go. They have been abandoned, and they are not only an eyesore, but they are dangerous. Now, I don't know about your children, but my children will love something like that. It will be an adventure for them out of this world to go into a house like that. But you go in a house like that, what are you going to find? Rats, roaches, snakes, nails. You might find somebody living in it. You never know what you're going to find. So for the safety of our community, the safety of our children, these houses have to go. And the people that are in charge of that, we're blessed to have them with us tonight. And they're going to kind of tell us the process that they go through. Go to the next slide. Now, the next thing that we discussed was a housing project that we have coming up. It's going to be on the corner of Pender and Gray Street, all right? Now, make it real easy. If you know where Pender Street Park is, everybody know where Pender Street Park is, right? That's where we're looking at putting this project. That project is going to have approximately 84 townhomes. And if you could imagine 84 townhomes on the corner of Pender and Gay, it's going to change the trajectory of that entire neighborhood. Now, right across the street, you know, we have Manchester and all that. Those houses are beautiful, and they're wonderful houses. I love them. But of course, across the street, well, the park is fine, but over in that area, Stimmery Street, it still needs an uplift. Well, this is going to do it. Now, of course, you know, that's where Pender Street Park is. So what does that mean? No, we're not taking away Pender Street Park. We're going to give a brand new Pender Street Park really close to that. So it's a double win. We have to go where Pender Street Park is right now because the grant that we're using requires the housing be within 1 mile of a major grocery store. And that housing project that we're coming up is exactly 1 mile from the food line. All right, so that is why it's going to go there, and we're just going to move the Pender Street Park, and it's going to be as big and better than what it is now. So our community have a brand new park and brand new townhomes. And the townhomes, I saw them, and the townhomes the ones I saw they're looking almost like the new ones that are on Raleigh Road. That's one rendition of them, the ones on Raleigh Road. And another thing is they're going to be tiered. So people can get in them based on your income. And so depending on your income level, you have a different separate percentage, which is going to be good because we need more affordable housing. Sometimes our affordable housing is not as desired, but these are going to be really, really nice. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, this right here is, we discussed a new traffic pattern. And what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to kind of follow me on this, all right? So this new traffic pattern was not something that the city council really, we didn't really have a lot to say. It was more like you're telling us, North Carolina DOT said, this is what we're going to do. Now, of course, some of us didn't really care for it too much, but when I explain it to you, you may understand why we really didn't. So we have a Wawa coming, all right? I'm not sure why Wawa is so spectacular because it's just it's a Wawa, but that's why it's spectacular because it's a Wawa. If it was a stop and go, I could get with you, but it's a Wawa, so it is, right? But the Wawa is going on the corner of Nash and War Boulevard, right? So let's take our brains for 1 second, all right? So let's go down to Forest Hills Road. Let's pretend you are at Forest Hills Road facing War Boulevard, all right? Everybody with me. You're on Forest Hills Road and you're at the stoplight. If you make a left, you will go to War Boulevard. You go towards Nash. If you keep straight, you're going to go to the little the little Forest Hills Road, and there's a little gas station on the right-hand side. Y'all with me? Gotcha. So when they make this traffic change, guys, you won't be able to make a left there. You will no longer be able to make a left off of Forest Hills onto Ward. You're going to have to keep straight across the street because remember this, Nick, there's going to be a light that they're going to put at the end of Forest Hills, and the state is taking over Forest Hills Road, that portion of Forest Hills Road. Ward onto Nash, right? Ward onto Nash. Sorry, Ward onto Nash. You won't, but you're gonna have to keep straight across to go to. You're gonna have to make a left at the light. Yeah, you won't be able to make a left right anyway. You're gonna have to make a left if I'm not mistaken, right?
My understanding from that DOT presentation was if you're on board towards Nash.
Right.
You want to turn left there. You couldn't do that. So you had to turn right on Forest Hills to turn left on Nash there by a gas station. So then go across.
So And that you may be correct. My understanding was you could not make a left there, which was really confusing us because if you kept straight, that's why they were putting a stoplight there. You have to keep straight across to make a left, to go down to make another left. Because they were saying it's going to be something in the middle of the road where you wouldn't be able, if you're going to like the Walgreens, you wouldn't be able to turn up in that area. And there's another road, another way that you're not going to be able to turn. And I cannot remember in the top of my head, but I can definitely get all that information to you. But that is going to be a major traffic change in our city. Personally, I feel like it's going to be a little more cumbersome than not, because if you're here at 5 o'clock, Nash Street on that end is very busy. And they're going to make it even more busy. But they said they did the study. And so if they've done the study, then I guess study works better than actual life, not for sure. But that's what North Carolina DOT said, all right? So we're going to go with it, all right? Again, Nick is with the Wilson Times, and he may be right. He more than likely is right. But I'm going to check on to it, because, newspaper, they pretty on top of that thing, right? But one of those rays, you ain't going to make a left, but I'm going to get it to you, all right? Sounds good? Good. Let's go to the next one. All right, now, reverse angle parking for the YMCA. I'm not going to say, ladies, learn how to back up, but I'm going to say, everybody, y'all need to learn how to back up, right? Because what we are looking at doing at the YMCA for parking and safety reasons is doing reverse angle parking, all right? Now, the reverse angle parking means you're just going to go up and you're going to back in. Why? It's safer to back in and drive out than to drive in and back out. And you're going to have a lot of kids over there. You're going to have people walking, from across the street trying to get there. And we don't want you running over anybody. But we definitely don't want you hitting the car that's going to be beside you. All right. So everybody, make sure your car is insured, and let's practice backing. All right. I will give a backing class in January. All right. We'll discuss it. All right. But what I want you guys to do is to just understand it's not happening right now, but it's going to happen sooner than later. All right. Any questions so far? All right. Let's go to the next one. Now, purchasing abandoned homes and the demolition process. I'm going to ask my friends if they will come up from the city of Wilson, come on up and give us a little explanation or a good explanation on that. Then I'll come back and we'll finish it up. All right.
How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me? Y'all good? Well, I'm Jonathan Rogers. I am over the Community Improvement and Neighborhood Improvement Departments with the City of Wilson. This is Jocelyn Drawhorn, also a member of the Community Improvement Department as well. Now, what we do in a nutshell is demolitions. I know there's been some talk about all the blight that you all see in the city, houses, building structures. It's a process. I can say that one demolition can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months. I know people think I see something bad, I can tear it down in a week. Unfortunately, not the case. It is a lot of legality to demolitions. It's a lot of trying to notify the owners. I know Mayor Stevens said about purchasing abandoned buildings. Now, as far as purchasing them, we don't sell them on our end because we don't own them. You will have to do what we do and try to contact the owner to purchase abandoned buildings. We don't keep a list that we hand out of our current demolitions, but we do post them on the building and in the paper and the legal ads once we get to the public hearing. So a little rundown of the process. The first process is that we locate a property. You locate it, a complaint comes in. That's our first step. From there, me or Jocelyn or both of us will go out and actually do our due diligence, taking pictures, basically inspecting the property to see if it's at that level to be condemned anyway. And in order for a property to be condemned, the value of the cost of repairs has to be at least 40% of the value of the house, if that makes sense. Once me and Jocelyn decide that we will pursue this for condemnation demolition, we will then get with our city attorney, Brian Pridgeon, and try to get the title report. That can take about a month, give or take. Could we give them time to do their process? Because we don't want to miss any steps, because I don't want to get to a point where the house is gone and I owner come looking for it and he can't find it. So once we get the title report in the month, that's when we send out a courtesy notice. And the courtesy notice is just basically a notice saying that we with the city have noticed your property is in disarray and trying to figure out what you want to do to the property. We give the owner 30 days to reply or respond. After 30 days, if we have no response, then we send out a letter for a public notice of hearing. And that gives the owner, if we haven't heard from, another opportunity to say that we have your property on notice. Could you come in, sit down, and talk to us about any plans? The hearing usually happens about 3 weeks after the hearing goes out. That's also posted on the property itself, because it becomes public knowledge then. So it's posted on the property, and a legal ad is posted in the paper saying that we have this public hearing scheduled for this day. After the hearing, we send out a finding of facts. The finding of facts is basically saying if they do show up, it's basically what we talked about in the hearing, but it's in written form so they know our plan. If they don't show up, it says that no one showed up, still, this needs to happen to the property. That goes out as well. It's posted on the property and it's posted in the paper. Once that goes out, we give them 90 days. So now we're at 5 months? Yeah. So we give them 90 days to respond, or 90 to act in any way. So at 90 days, we'll go out and look at the property again to see if any progress has been made. If no progress has been made, that's when it gets over to City Council. That's when we compile our packet and send to them for our order for demolition. So by the time it gets to City Council, it's been 6, 7 months.
That's if it's a smooth time.
Now that's the ideal process.
Yeah,
The ideal.
Because you might have someone call in between, or last minute, right before we go to the city council, say, wait. Or they'll sell the property right before. Then that can kind of hold up the process as well.
Exactly. So property gets sold. Okay. So the property gets sold in the midst of the process starts over. So it becomes a juggling act, really. Of course, some owners do step forward and then say they're going to repair the property. So we have to allow them an opportunity to do that. Some get repaired. I have a few that have it repaired, which I'm happy about. Because for one, I don't want people to think that we are only in it to demolish every house in the city. That's not what we want to do. Our goal is to remove the blight, whether it be demolition or repairs. Because we would love for the owners to take responsibility and fix the houses up. We would love that. We don't want to lose all these houses. But of course, there are some that just are too far gone. Anything else? Am I missing something?
I think that's pretty much it, but a lot of people just complain about seeing a lot, why is this sitting here? But, hopefully now you all have a good idea of the process. We have to give the owners a chance to fix it up. And if they do fix it up, there have been times where they'll begin and then they'll stop and leave it alone. Mm-hmm. And then that lengthens the process as well. But as Jonathan said.
So yes, yeah, you're right. So after we get to the ordinance for demolition, the ordinance doesn't necessarily mean we're going for demolition. It doesn't really mean, it just means that now we have the opportunity to, if nothing happened to it, we can demolish it. We can now go in the property without warrants and all that good stuff. It just gives more control of the property. Now, once we get to that point, me and Jocelyn and Kevin O'Brien will go out, pull samples to test for asbestos, because we've got to do that now with state law that requires any demolition has to be checked for asbestos. It has to come back clean. So that takes a little time too. Pulling samples, getting samples cleared. If the property comes back hot, if it can be sampled, because some houses are just in such a disarray, they can't be sampled. In that sense, they come off as a ACM or asbestos containing material, which means the whole house is treated like it's hot with asbestos. So those demolitions can be a little more costly than the ones that we can sample, get abated, which means get them cleared for demolition and get removed. So once we get to the abatement or a clean house, it's out for bid. So the bid process takes about 3 weeks, give or take. That's when contractors look at the property and give us a bid of their amount for demolition. Once the bids come in, I'll choose one. They'll let me know basically their schedule, and that's basically how the demolition is completed. So demolition, like some of the properties, well, 901's been on this for about 1.5 years. So again, it's a process. I just want the city to understand, I mean, our apartment is 2 years old now. Well, going on 3 years old. So we're a very new department, because we had someone before, Mr. Charles Taylor, rest in peace, that was doing it as an inspector, but doing it part-time with the city. But once he passed, and the city council felt a need that the city needed a department just for demolition. So that's why we're here. I also handle the special projects for the city, like the Salvation Army, like he was talking, the mall, yeah, that's the mall, great. The mall, the STEMI project, those warehouses, I'm working on that now. The apartments on Towards Knot, I'm also working on getting rid of those. So I handle the city special projects as well. You guys have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
The houses. Thank you. The houses that are on the other side of 301 Highway, what's that, Singletary Street, it's a lot of abandoned houses that's been there for some years, that's boarded up. Also, Manchester, those boarded up houses that have been there like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. What is happening with those houses? Because some of them do say, I've maybe seen 1 or 2 that says no trespassing, which makes me think that someone does own the house. But a lot of those houses are just boarded up and have been for a long time. I mean, do those houses, is there a process where those houses can be sold and maybe try to fix them up so someone else could, or do people own the houses because they've been boarded up for so long?
Good question. Now every house, somebody owns it. Now, whether it be an air property or people who just buy properties for tax purposes, they could be in California, Wyoming, they just buy properties. Some are left in heirs who don't even know they own the property, so that's the situation as well. Now, as far as the properties over there, we haven't gotten to them yet. Now, my other department, net improvement, does do the boarding ups, because we want to at least keep the abandoned house at least boarded up to keep it from being open to the public, safety reasons and other things. But yes, but we are slowly migrating back over to that part of the city.
You just did.
Yes, I just wrapped up Dildy. That's off of 301.
That's all those apartments that were right there across from where they built the new Dollar General.
Yes, the little cinder block apartments. I just got rid of those. I got rid of a couple on Manchester, but we will focus more down Pender, but we're working our way right back around. So it's on our to-do list, actually. So we're getting there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they're owned by somebody. Now, as far as revitalizing them, that's more of a community development question. If the community development department sees that there's some viability into that area, then there's opportunity for us to go in and try to talk to the owners, try to foreclose, they owe back taxes so we can take control of the properties. Keep in mind, a demolition does not give city authority to the property at all. If a house is demolished, the owner or whoever's on the title report still own that property. They just own the property now with a bill that's attached to it. So if it's possibility that community would want to grow in that area, then of course the city will look at it, possibly foreclose and own those properties to take ownership and then try to revitalize that community. That's how that process works.
And I would like, oh, okay. Well,
Oh, wait, would you say?
Tell you the question we just did. What if the property owner never receives the letter of intent?
so what if the property owner never receives the letter, the courtesy letter?
Depends. I just had an owner actually, last week called me because on the title report, there's an address, well, P.O. box that she knew nothing about. So all the correspondences were going to her P.O. box and she's in Jersey with her mom. Now, 2 weeks ago, she'd been trying to sell the property, but they found out that it's a demo ordinance on her property currently, scheduled demolition. She happened to call me luckily, and I've put a hold on her demolition while we see what she wants to do with her property. Now, to answer the question from the live that whether they didn't receive it, is there a reason why they wouldn't receive it? I mean, looking like maybe the address was wrong or?
I mean, I guess just if they didn't get it at all, like if they say I didn't receive it.
Okay, in a nutshell, if they don't receive it, we still post it in the paper, still post it on the property itself. So there are 7 chances of them to catch and know that they're part of a demolition. So if they don't receive the curse letter in the mail, they do get notice of hearing that's posted on the door and all posted in the paper. So by city ordinance, we've done due diligence by trying to notify the owner the best way we can. That's how we tell people that the title report is very important to make sure that their addresses are matching on that report. Because if not, that's all we have to go off of. So if it gets to that point and it gets demolished and they never receive any of it, by the ordinance, we've done due diligence by posting in the paper and posting on their property as well.
And that's kind of ties into what I was going to say, that kind of ties into the purchasing and your question. If you see something, or if you're a small time investor, you know, an entrepreneur, you're not a large company, and you see something, you can go on the Wilson County Tax website for free, and you can have access to the same information we do and reach out to the owner if you're interested in purchasing it. And if you are interested in purchasing something, or if you're just riding around, you see something, you can just give us a call at City Hall and say, hey, I'm interested in 123 Sesame Street. Is this on your demolition list? And then we can tell you and work with you from there. So that's another way to also take part in revitalizing the city as well. Yes, the main number?
I can be reached at 252-399-2216. Josh can be reached at 252-399-2240. Correct?
Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm gonna give you a hand as soon as I get up there. All right. Thanks, man. All right, good. All right, very good. Let's go to the next slide, please, brother. All right, now, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for that wealth of information. I don't know what it costs now, but it was maybe 12, 13 years ago, I had a house demolished and it was over $30,000. And so it's not a cheap process whatsoever. And we just, you know how the old folks say, we put it on time. I'm so grateful that they let me pay it over time because that was a beast, all right? So, and I hope to answer the question that I get a lot of, just tear the house down. Just tear it down. And, you know, again, some people don't want to tear houses down. They want to revitalize them, which is a great thing. It is great. But you need investors. You need people that can do it. And That's why I tore the house down that I had, because it got to the point where I just could not, it was more money to keep it up or to fix it than it was to tear it down and just sell the land. So I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you for that information. Now, we're going to end it up and wrap it up a little bit. How can I best help my city grow? All right, go to the next slide. It's a simple process. Apply for a board or a commission. If you want to have say so in how this city is run, one of those boards or commissions is where you need to be. Find where you fit in. Okay, if you like golf, get on the Wedgewood Golf Advisory Committee. If you like planning and design, join the planning and design review board. That's how you help run this city, how you make sure things happen in the city that you think should happen. It's okay to, every now and then you see people post things on Facebook, which I'm not against Facebook, but they post things and then you get the little thumbs up or you get all this conversation. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that conversation ends and dies right there at Facebook. If you want something to happen, you have to be active. You have to get away from your computer and get in those streets, right? Get in them streets. That's what you got to do if you want change in this city. In my fraternity, we call it being out. You got to be out, all right? You got to be in it. And if you want to be in it, all you got to do is call me. You say, look, Carlton, I want to be on this particular board or this particular commission. And when the time comes, if your application is in and there's an opening, I have no problem in putting you on it. I want people up there who really want to be up there. Every now and then, we have to actually call people that we can think of. Hey, look, would you mind serving on this committee? Would you mind serving on this board? That shouldn't be the case. I should have so many names that we have to go through. It's myself, Councilman Creech and Councilman Johnson, and we make the appointments. And it is sometimes hard to find people, and then you have some boards that people are on 3 and 4 terms when we normally try to keep people up 2 terms, but no one else wants to be on it. All right. So we need your help. All right. Go to the next slide. And that actually is ending. Do we have any questions out in the audience? Yes, darling. That's all right.
And I don't know if this is the right time, but I want to ask about a library on the other side of town. We have that small library right across that, next to that gray big ABC store they just revitalized. That big one, the big one, and then so there's a library, a little teeny one over there. So, I just think that we need a library over there on that side of town because those kids like to read too. And, they need something positive to do that's in walking distance. I just feel that it's time for a library. I just want to know what I need to do.
Well, first I'm going to tell you, I completely understand what you're talking about. Whenever we had COVID, myself and another person who doesn't live in that area, we were over there for a church event, going to a church over there, and I showed her the library. She looked in it. She said, "Are you serious? This is the library?" And I said, "Yes." She started crying because it is pitiful. It is pitiful. But I will say this, city councils, the city, that's not under our auspices. That's going to be county. All right. And I'm so grateful to be able to say that. All right. So you can go to the commissioner, a county commissioner, or go to a county meeting and bring up your concerns because that's a valid concern. But that will be the county. Those meetings are, Nick, I need to go to you. I'll have an answer for you in just a hot second. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mayor Carlton. I know some cities that have a large library, they have mobile units that go out into communities. Do we have any such thing in this community where they can take the books to the kids and they have a certain time that they come so everyone in the community can share in the resources they have?
I've seen a bookmobile. That's what we call it, the bookmobile. I don't know how I remember that, right? But I've seen a bookmobile, but I just haven't seen them active. But that is a very good question to ask. And I have no problem in contacting the library tomorrow and then posting it out on my social media outlets to let it be known. And then I also make sure that I post the meeting time for the county commissioners out there. But yeah, the bookmobile was pretty popular at one point. Now let me say this: our library is phenomenal. The library, especially during the COVID time and how they allowed those kids to come and get so many books, right? I thank God for our library, and the people that work there. But to address what you were saying is not to knock our library, because we have a phenomenal main library. But if we had another one, it wouldn't be bad for children that couldn't walk. Maybe a little more up to date, right? Yeah, definitely. But I'll find out and I'll post it on my social media outlet. All right. Thank you, Pastor. Any more questions? The county commissioners meeting, first Monday, 7 p.m., Miller Road, where you vote, right? First Monday of every month, 7 p.m., and it's on Miller Road where you vote. All right. All right. Well, listen, any other questions whatsoever? Listen, I want to thank everybody, especially the ones that were on live, to joining us. If you have questions or whatever, you feel free to call me, 252-399-9434. I think that number is well known. I mean, my phone blows up, right? So feel free to call me. I do better with texting, I'll be honest with you. Call, text 252-399-9434. If you have any questions that you didn't want to ask on live, if there's anything that I can do to try to help navigate you in whatever it is you want to do, please call me. Pastor Jerry, again, thank you for allowing us to be here, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys next year. All right.